Lord of the Mysteries audiobook by Kevin 1411 in modern day 9. As the cold wind blows, the flashlight on my phone dims. I shiver and my hair stands on end. To be honest, after becoming an assassin, even if there isn't any light, I can still see the surroundings clearly without worrying about what's on the ground. But there's no conflict between me being able to see in the darkness and my need for a flashlight. Who isn't afraid of the dark? At that moment my heart beats faster, pounding like a drum. Almost at the same time, I sense someone watching me. The cold wind is the breath of a monster lurking deep in the darkness. Recalling what happened on the bus previously, I pretended not to notice anything amiss and looked down at my phone. It's broken again. I had previously encountered the sudden experience of my phone's flashlight dimming, but I was using a crappy phone. At this moment, the experienced me habitually blamed it on the phone. After checking the phone and making the lights turn on again, I continue forward without anything happening. The eerie wind is still lingering in the corridor. The light flickers in brightness, digging up the fear hidden at the bottom of my heart. As I walk, I seriously consider what powers an assassin has against ghosts. The answer is nothing. Since I have nothing, I don't look forward to slaying evil or dealing with the possible existence of a ghost as if dealing with gangsters. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. I calmly walk up the flight of stairs and arrive at the top floor. The lights in the building are working fine as they shine down with their yellow light. Everything returns to normal. Following that, the cold gust of wind stops. The light stops flickering. I successfully return to the 6th floor and stop at the entrance of my rented apartment. Phew, there's actually a ghost present here. I have to move out as soon as possible. This thought subconsciously flashes across my mind. I don't feel any shame. This is an instinctual response that anyone can have. However, if I quietly moved away, Jataz and her boyfriend would definitely not know what's happening here. They'll continue living here. Who knows whether the devil might pester them? Also, there are 12 units in this building. It's impossible for me to inform every household, right? Also, how do I say it? Ghosts. Who would believe me? I hold my key, momentarily held in a difficult spot. Quickly hire a capable Taoist priest or monk to exorcise the ghost. But I don't know any. Before today, I didn't even know that there are supernatural powers in this world. It was all fantasy. Yes, the tarot club's The Star knows that the mysterious cult provides all kinds of superpowers, which means he has a certain level of understanding in such matters. Will he know a few masters who are good at busting ghosts? Few. I'll give it a try. If there's nothing I can do, I'll make an anonymous call to inform the police. I'll post a flyer that mentions how this place is haunted at every household's door. No, not flyer, a bulletin. I quickly come up with a plan. As for the outcome, I don't have any demands. After all, I don't have any experience in this area. Besides, I should prioritize protecting myself. Opening the door, I enter the room and return to my room. I think for a while before logging on to QQ and entering a private chat with the Star. The Hanged Man and the Hermit suspect that he's a member of cyber police. If I were to directly look for him, he will definitely be able to find my IP address and lock onto my identity. Just as I'm about to type the message, I remember the warning from 2 other members of the Tarot Club. After tinkering for a while, I use a proxy and use my alt the world to say to the Star, "Face with monocle, are you there? I have something to ask you." "Don't use that emoji, it scares me," Star replies quickly. "Why?" I ask. The Star says, "Grinning face with sweat, this emoji has become popular recently. It's very strange. Furthermore, something tragic happened to a family last week. Everyone in that family wore a monocle and died in different places. The only survivor was a girl who went mad from the trauma. She repeatedly tells people not to go near her. I suspect that those who use this emoji will be targeted by an unknown existence. They will automatically put on a monocle and commit suicide or kill each other. Don't scare me, astonished face. I reply, unsure if I should believe him. Ha ha, it's just a joke. The monocle in this emoji is on a different eye from the tragedy. Furthermore, there are thousands of people using this emoji. Which unknown existence can keep an eye on everyone? The star switches to asking, "Why are you looking for me?" I directly say, "My area is haunted. Do you know anyone who's good at ghost busting?" "I'm very good at that." The star replies without hesitation. "Then wouldn't I be exposed?" I quickly send an emoji, grinning face with big eyes. "I won't trouble you for the time being. You seem very busy. Do you have anyone else that you could introduce to me?" "Yes, a lady, a medium. She's skilled in techniques from overseas, but I can guarantee that it's effective. There's another foreigner, a priest. He's also good at setting up exorcism rituals." The star replies, "They're all foreigners. You don't have Taoist priests or monks to introduce. I'm more trusting towards local ones." The star replies, "I only know foreign ones." "Okay, who's better?" I had wanted to ask who's cheaper, but considering how someone cheap might not do the job, I don't dare to skimp on that. The star immediately says, "Mamda. I'll give you her QQ number, add her directly and contact her. XXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Okay, thank you." I quickly copy the QQ number and paste it into the search box. Mamda's QQ name is Sleeping with Corpses, and adding her requires one to answer a verification question. How old are you? How old? This question is strange. Do I need to use a countersign? I'm puzzled for a moment. I take a screenshot and send it to the star. "What's the answer?" The star replies, "Just answer that you're an adult." What's the meaning of this? She doesn't entertain underage clients. I'm confused. No, she just wants to determine the extent she can go in the conversation. The star answered simply and then used an image to supplement it, open to suggestions, ready to be suggestive. For some reason, I'm at a loss on how to respond. I fill up the verification according to the star's answer and fill in adult. It doesn't seem online. I didn't get added even after a few minutes. After thanking the star, I use snacks to console myself. After eating and drinking, I head to the bathroom outside to wash up and prepare to head to bed. Mamda still hasn't added me. I switch on the bathroom light and turn on the tap. I reach for the towel. Turning around, I suddenly see a figure in the mirror. That figure is blurry. Vaguely, I see it wearing a small hat. It's a woman in a black dress. Clearly, this isn't my projection. It can't be Jataz, who wears pajamas as home. Instantly, my mind explodes and I hurriedly retreat. "Don't be afraid," the woman in the mirror says in an ethereal voice. "Someone hired me to protect you." "Who?" I ask subconsciously. The figure in the mirror replies calmly, "A detective named Sherlock Moriarty." 1412 in modern day 10. Sherlock Moriarty sounds like a foreigner. Moriarty seems to be the professor in Holmes. Sherlock seems to be Holmes's first name. This detective is using a fake name, right? It has a style reminiscent of coming up with a name when creating a game avatar. Perhaps he isn't a foreigner. I sense something from the ghost in the mirror and ask after some thought. Who is he? Why does he want to protect me? At this moment, due to the other party's ability to communicate, my sense of fear has been greatly reduced. I've become an assassin. Isn't it normal for ghosts to exist in this world? It isn't hard to accept something that goes against common sense. Besides, it's not like I didn't sense something on the bus on the way home. The blurry woman wearing a petite bonnet in the mirror replies in a flat voice, "Someone wants to harm you." She didn't tell me who Sherlock Moriarty is. Why does he want to protect me? It looks like it's a secret. What is it that can't be said? Many thoughts flash through my mind. Suddenly, I think of a possibility and blurt out, "That cult wants to harm me." Sherlock Moriarty is their archenemy. That makes sense. Otherwise, I wouldn't believe that someone would send a female ghost to protect me for no reason, unless it's the police who serve the people. The female ghost in the mirror falls silent for 2 seconds before nodding indiscernibly. You can put it that way. At that moment, I feel a subtle change in her eyes, but I can't decipher what emotions are contained within them. Under normal circumstances, a person without any training would more or less reveal their emotions in their eyes. This would help me understand their attitude. But the entity right in front of me is a ghost. More importantly, the things that can be discerned through the eyes most of the time are the more intense fluctuations in emotions or unconcealed emotions. Not only is the female ghost in the mirror blurry, but she also has a mosaic over her. Furthermore, her emotions are very mild, almost as though she's emotionless. After pondering for a moment, I probe, which people around me are from the evil cult. The female ghost in a black dress opens her mouth. Her voice becomes increasingly ethereal as it turns weaker and weaker. Following that, a fine layer of snow appears on the surface of the mirror, just like an old television that has its reception hampered. The female ghost vanishes amidst the static. What happened? I'm not afraid of ghosts anymore, so why did the ghost disappear instead? Did something happen again? I turn wary and look around, but everything's normal. When I look back, the mirror has returned to its original state, reflecting my fearful and blank face. Splash. The water from the tap gushes out incessantly. Unconsciously, I grab my wet towel and wash my face. Nothing has changed. At the same time, I don't sense anything unusual. Yes, no matter what, I still have to brush my teeth. I force myself to stay calm. Since things are already like this, what's there to worry about? After brushing my teeth and wiping my mouth, I return to my room. The moment I enter, I feel an indescribable feeling. My eyes are drawn to my cell phone, which I have set on the computer table. It seems to be the source of all the abnormalities. Instinctively, I charge over, wanting to hurl the phone out of the window so it's far away from me. However, it's very expensive. I changed it not too long ago. I don't know if there's something wrong with it. I'm already an assassin, and there's the female ghost protecting me. What's there to be afraid of? I console myself, walk over, pick up my phone, and plaster my fingerprint on it. After unlocking the screen, the first thing I see is a message. Sleeping with corpses has added you. In the next second, my cell phone darkens suddenly, and the lights around me seem to be attracted by this bottomless pit. They are all thrown into the pitch-black darkness. Before I can react, the faint light on my phone ripples, revealing a translucent face that's without any eyes, nose, or mouth. There's a ghost in your room. The mouth of the face opens and closes, revealing a long and bright red tongue. There are 5 slender fingers at the tip of the tongue, and embedded on the 2 sides are rows of irregular sharp teeth. Don't tell me you're not one too. I have the urge to give such a reply, but I hold myself back. Recalling the message I just read, I ask with a slightly trembling voice, "Mamda, impressive. She really is psychic and can control ghosts." "Yes, I've already made some initial restrictions via the messenger. That ghost won't affect you tonight, and I won't have the chance to suck you dry." The translucent wobbles shook. "I'll come personally tomorrow morning to deal with it. Give me the address." Tomorrow morning, I have work to do. I am thrown into a dilemma. CEO Huang wants me to pick up the VIP at the airport. If I stand him up, I will lose my job. Work, is your boss beautiful? Madame De asks through the translucent face. He's a guy, I point out the truth. You like men? Madame De asks without pause. How is that possible? I deny it, amused and exasperated. Since that's not the case, why are you still in the mood for work even though you're haunted by ghosts? Or perhaps you have a female colleague that you have a crush on. You can't skip a day of seeing her, Madame De scoffs. Can't it be because I'm poor? If I don't work, who will take care of me? I have a nagging feeling that I'm being led astray by Madame De. The conversation is filled with logical errors. Although I have some savings, it's not a lot, and I have to pay for the exorcism. Of course, I'm in the mood to work because the female ghost hasn't shown any malice. Madame De's translucent face opens its mouth and says, "What about your family?" They aren't well off, I answer frankly. How are your looks? Madame de asks another strange question. Average. I feel lost. Height. A little over 1.7 meters. Strong. Ordinary. How big? How big is that thing of yours? Hey, it's like this. I can introduce you to some part-time work. The other party consists of rich and idle mature ladies. They value young people very much. They're willing to provide the necessary help and become friends with mutual benefits. Do you want to consider them? The translucent face rambles on. Auntie, am I just going to give up on my hard work? I roughly understand what the other party was talking about. As long as you understand. The translucent, terrifying face lets out a suspicious laugh. I don't plan on doing so, I say without hesitation. I have my integrity. Madame de doesn't bother with the topic and instead says, then when will you get off work tomorrow? Let's schedule an appointment. 9 in the evening. I include the possibility of working overtime. All right, give me the address. I'll contact you on QQ when the time comes. Madame de's translucent face yawns. This lady's extraordinary performance has exceeded the limits of my knowledge, so I no longer have any doubts about her abilities. I immediately give her an address and ask, how much will it cost? The basic cost is 20,000 yuan. The price can go higher depending on the difficulty. If you can't afford it, you can consider the part-time job. Madame Du is rather direct. I recall my savings and feel a wave of pain. What's the maximum it can go? Why don't I just forget it? Besides, the female ghost doesn't seem to have any ill intentions. The highest it can go is 50,000 yuan, Madame de calmly says. 50,000, only 50,000. I'm surprised. The translucent face snorts. I'll give up missions that exceed 50,000. Money is nice, but I need to be alive to spend it. Okay. I see myself on the brink of bankruptcy. By the way, I'll give you a document. You can download it and read about how to get along with ghosts. The translucent face slowly slides back into the phone. Then I see Sleeping with Corpses send me a BitTorrent seed. I open it and realize that there are a few videos in it. They're quite large in size and are named 1, 2, and 3. Due to the seriousness of the matter, I don't hesitate and turn on my computer to download it. While I initiate the download, I start playing games to pass time. After a while, the download completes. I open the video file named 1. In just a few seconds, a title appears in front of me. A Chinese ghost story. On the glass window, a blurry female ghost wearing a long black dress appears. She holds her cheek with one hand and quietly stares at the computer screen. 1413 in modern day 11 in preparation. Keguan, please wait a moment. After the updates, you need to refresh the page to get the latest updates. 1414 in modern day 12. France is great. I had plans of politely complimenting his country, but perhaps because I'm used to lampooning, I almost blurt out, great at surrendering. Cough. I cough dryly and say no more, lest he finds Chinese-styled sense of humor unacceptable. After chatting for a while, I point in the direction of the airport. Mr. Zarathustra will take a few more hours before he arrives. Shall we head inside and have something to drink? Wine. Risego looks at me. No, I mean coffee, tea, cola, and so on. Don't drink and drive. I'm surprised that his first reaction towards the suggestion is wine. You're a professional chauffeur. Aren't you a little too rash? The foreigner, Risego, clearly didn't understand my humor. After thinking for a few seconds, he says, sorry, I woke up too early today and am still a little sleepy. I'll be sleeping in the car for a while. Okay. I secretly breathe a sigh of relief. Although I'm not against social interactions, and I'm even willing to be on good terms with people from a partnered company, I still feel a little uncomfortable thinking about having to spend a few hours with a stranger I'm not familiar with. Even if the other party were a beauty, this feeling wouldn't be any less. Yes, that's the case for me. Perhaps he shares the same thoughts. That's probably why he chose to sleep in the car. Returning from the parking lot to the airport, I randomly find an empty seat and sit down, not putting what I said about drinking something into practice. It all costs money. Based on my understanding of CEO Huang, he's quite generous. But at the same time, as the big boss, he wouldn't pay attention to the reimbursements of a mere employee. These sorts of trivial matters are usually handled by the finance department that follows a particular procedure. Therefore, if I waited until noon at the airport, I would definitely be able to claim the expenses for lunch, but I would have to bear the expenses for coffee, cola, tea, snacks, etc. Those are unnecessary expenses. Of course, if I could get Comrade Risego to join me for the meal, then I would be able to claim such expenses client entertainment. For this reason, when I invited him earlier, I was actually quite sincere. At least half of it was true. After sitting for a while and using my phone, I suddenly realized a serious issue. I hadn't had breakfast yet. I had left in a hurry this morning. As I listen to the rumbling of my stomach and feel my thirst and hunger, I decide to find something to eat. Food at the airport is expensive. Shall I look for KFC or McDonald's or get some random slice of bread? I stand up and head to the side of the lobby. When I see the first shop that looks like it sells local delights, I turn in and look for food that's cost-efficient. My phone buzzes as I approach the frozen food section. "Hello, Mr. Risego, what's the matter?" I glance at the caller. Risego's voice comes from the other end of the line. "Ningbo is undergoing a thunderstorm. All flights are canceled. Mr. Zarathustra will switch to using the high-speed railway." Isn't this fellow too unlucky? I'm amused yet helpless. Then shall we wait at the railway station? There's definitely more than enough time because the high-speed railway station is just below the airport. Even if Mr. Zarathustra couldn't buy a ticket to stop at this station, it would take a maximum of 90 minutes from the airport to the municipal high-speed railway station. It takes less time than the time it takes from Ningbo to this city. Wait a little longer. I'll wait for confirmation, Risego replies calmly. As we speak, I see the door to the ice cabinet push open. A small, fair, fat hand reaches in and picks up a Bakesy-branded white peach oolong-flavored ice cream. I trace this hand and see a child that looks around 1 year old. I have no clue regarding its gender. Sitting in a pram, its face is chubby and it cannot stop chirping. It's really adorable. Such a young child eating ice cream. The parents are so irresponsible. I gaze up at the adult pushing the pram and find a gentle, beautiful woman. I have no intention of stopping them. It's none of my business. As long as they don't abuse the child, all I'll do is lampoon. However, is letting a 1-year-old eat ice cream a form of abuse? Anyways, the child appears quite happy. After hanging up the phone, I consider the possibility that we have to rush over to the high-speed railway station at any time. I simply make a choice, getting some packaged pastries and bottled water before paying for it at the cashier. Just as I find a place to sit down and quickly finish breakfast, Risego calls again. The tickets for today's high-speed railway have been sold out. Mr. Zarathustra will have to stay there and come tomorrow. He sure is filled with bad luck. That's good too. I can head back directly. I don't have to wait until noon or head to the railway station, I tersely acknowledge. Then let's head back first. Yes, we'll come again tomorrow, Risego says immediately. Come to the parking lot. I'll send you back. I'm returning to the city anyway. Sure, I reply with a smile. It's not that I'm saving money and being greedy. After all, I can also claim my travel expenses for my trip back. However, there's nothing wrong with having good relations with the employees of a partnered company at work. Even if I don't end up getting an additional order, it gives me another outlet for job hopping in the future. The only problem is how I'll get along with him later. It can be quite awkward if two unfamiliar people were to get together. Let's just talk about work. It's only about an hour anyway, I console myself. I leave the airport and find Risego and his Mercedes. I get into the car and buckle my seatbelt. Before I can say anything, Risego turns his head to give me a glance. Sit tight. Huh, I feel lost for a moment. The next second the car starts and speeds off. Hey, 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 hey. This is still a parking lot. You're driving too fast. Ah. After a series of bends, the car slows down and exits the parking lot through the gantry. Then the Mercedes continues to race. It swerves left and right on the road, taking up any empty spots. Not only is he on the verge of exceeding the speed limit, but he also shows no signs of stopping. On several occasions, I imagined that there would be a car accident, but with Risego's control, the car nimbly avoids danger. "This aren't you driving too fast?" I ask, coming back to my senses and gulping. "Don't worry. I used to be a racer," Risego says as he looks ahead, his eyes bright. "But isn't it too fast? This is a city road, not a racetrack," I lampoon nervously. I don't dare to say another word, afraid that Master Risego would be distracted and might end up hitting a guardrail or harming the innocent. At this moment, I recall my ability as an assassin. I decide that if anything were to go wrong, I would jump out of the car to seek refuge or forcefully control Risego to stop the vehicle. 40 minutes later, the racing car stops outside the building where my company is located. Thank you, thank you. My face is a little pale as I unbuckle the seat belt. If it weren't for my abilities as an assassin and my outstanding balance, I definitely would have gotten carsick and puked all over the ground. "You're welcome. See you tomorrow." Risego waves with a smile. I exhale and bid the racer farewell. Entering the building, I glance subconsciously at the spot where the vending machine had appeared. It's empty. Fortunately, I head upstairs and press the up button. As I wait, I lower my head and straighten my clothes. Suddenly, a pair of long legs wearing leather boots walk over. 14:15 in modern day 13, I raise my head subconsciously and glance to the side. This instantly makes me feel a little uncomfortable. This isn't because the other party is a gorgeous beauty, but because she's CEO Huang's daughter, Miss Bernie Huang. This lady's eyebrows are straight, her nose high, and she wears a pair of blue-tint-colored contacts. Together with her slightly curled hair that she dyed a chestnut color, she has a level of beauty belonging to foreigners. Seeing her look at me, I instinctively open my mouth to greet her. "Miss Huang." "No, that might bring about negative connotations, my lady, Miss Huang. It's too exaggerated, just like a brainless idle drama, Madam Huang. This clearly doesn't suit a young girl. She'll get angry, Teacher Huang." She's still a student. As my thoughts run through my mind, the young lady, Miss Bernie Huang, nods at me. "Hello." "Hello," I respond reflexively, using an honorific greeting. "Is my dad in the office?" Miss Huang asks softly. "Oh, sorry, I don't know. I just came back from some work outside. I haven't stepped into the office yet," I answer honestly. Miss Huang nods slightly and doesn't say anything else because the lift we're waiting for has already reached the first floor. As the lift moves up, I try my best to find a topic to prevent the situation from being awkward, but I don't dare to strike up a random conversation. CEO Huang treasures his daughter very much. If I were to offend her by saying something wrong, I might be fired today. "Joe." At this moment, Miss Huang turns to look at me and says hesitantly, as if she's trying to recall my name. "Joe Mingrui." I hurriedly say my name. Although Miss Huang often comes to the office to help her mother check on her father, I believe that she definitely doesn't know a mere employee like me. To be able to have a slight impression of my surname means that her memory is beyond imagination. "Mr. Joe, I have something I need your help on." Miss Huang asks politely. "No problem, as long as I can do it," I reply without hesitation. As long as Miss Huang is satisfied, a promotion and a pay raise would not be too far away. As we speak, we exit the elevator and enter the company. "Help me translate a batch of documents for me." Bernie Huang walks in her leather boots as she says. "Translate? What language is it?" I ask hurriedly. "Cursive script," Miss Huang replies simply. "Cursive script. I haven't learned that before. Just as I'm about to answer, Miss Huang suddenly picks up her pace. We have already arrived outside CEO Huang's office. This lady doesn't give CEO Huang any face at all. She walks past the female secretary that is stationed outside, nimbly reaching out her hand and pushing open the door gently. Let's hope that CEO Huang isn't spreading his love early in the morning. I silently pray in my heart before taking an indiscernible step to the side in case I get embroiled in CEO Huang's family matters. Of course, I'm not that nervous either. After all, CEO Huang is experienced. If he were to do any sordid deeds in the office, he would definitely lock the door from the inside. As expected, there's no one in the office. CEO Huang is at a meeting. The female secretary stands up nervously and tells Miss Huang, "I'll wait for him inside." Miss Huang nods and walks into the room. One step later, she turns her head and says, "Mr. Zhou, please come in." "All right." I walk over and quickly say, "I don't have much knowledge about cursive script. Take a look first." Miss Huang stops by the door and says, when I enter, she casually closes the door. Then she flips her sling bag and takes out a stack of paper. "Try and see if you can read it. If possible, read it to me." "Okay." I take the stack of papers from her. My whole body turns stiff from that cursory look. If I'm not wrong, the cursive script on the paper is from CEO Huang. I've seen the comments he had written on documents on several occasions. This is CEO Huang's diary. Damn, don't tell me he writes down every affair. Which decent person writes a diary? I can't help but sweat. If I read it, I offend CEO Huang. If I don't read it, I offend Miss Huang. What does it mean to be in a dilemma? This is what it means to be in a dilemma. Wait, I don't know cursive script. Haha, I can't read it. Although I can barely make out what CEO Huang has written, I really don't know any cursive script. I immediately open my mouth. Miss Huang, I can't. Before I finish, the office door is pushed open. Thud. CEO Huang rushes in and he scans the both of us with his widened eyes. He retracts his gaze from the gap between me and Miss Huang and he smiles. "Bebe, why didn't you give me a call? I could have gone down to bring you up." "I'm already of age." Miss Huang glances at me from the corner of her eye. "I'm just making a request to Mr. Zhou for his help." I immediately understand her intention. Secretly, I pull the documents behind my back. "Call him Uncle Joe," CEO Huang smiles as he emphasizes. Then he turns his head to look at me. "You may leave, I'll holler if there's anything." "Okay." I use this opportunity to leave the office and return to my seat where I hide the papers. Before I can switch on the computer, Razan leans in and says with a suppressed voice, "You're finished." "Ah," I stare blankly. Don't you know that CEO Huang dotes on his daughter to the point of having an obsession? He hates seeing other men get close to his daughter the most. During Miss Huang's past few visits, the men who took the initiative to offer their help have either quit or transferred to a branch company at a Tier 3 city, Razan said with a chuckle. "It can't be. I was just in proximity to her. I mainly did so because I wanted to please CEO Huang." I grit my teeth from hearing that. "Tusk, don't you know what kind of man CEO Huang is? In his eyes, all men are the same as him. If one has money, they'll definitely be playing around, loving everyone they see, making love to everyone they see. If one doesn't have money, then they'll seduce the rich and beautiful lady, take up the post of CEO, and elevate themselves to the peak point of life. Therefore, in the eyes of men like you, Miss Huang is the most tempting of prey," Razan said half-jokingly. It's just that Miss Huang asked me for help. I wasn't playing around at all. I feel wronged." "You really weren't playing around?" Razan casually asks. "Of course." I immediately raise my fingers in an oath. Think about it. To develop and maintain a relationship, you'll need about 2 to 3 hours a day, right? If it's 2 relationships, it'll take 4 to 5 hours. There are 7 hours for sleep every night, an hour's nap in the afternoon, 9 hours of work, and 3 meals which add up to an hour. That's already 18 hours, leaving only 6 hours left in a day. If I were playing around and tried to two-time, I wouldn't have the time to play games, watch videos, or read novels. How tiring, how boring. Makes sense. Razan slowly nods before saying with a smile, right now you need a book on time management. Before I can answer, she continues, but how does CEO Huang manage to end time so many women? He's different. If it's just one partner, then he might take 1 hour out of his 2 to 3 day schedule to maintain the relationship, I answer thoughtfully. Razan tersely acknowledges. That's right. CEO Huang is different from us. He's handsome and rich. Sigh. Razan and I sigh at the same time. Razan, who's quite the gossip monger, suddenly shrinks back. Old AI is here. I'll be returning to my seat first. Just as Razan leaves, CEO Huang's person in charge, the corporate office's director AI, appears and stops in front of me. He's already old. His hair is completely white and his face is pale. Send everything you need to claim today to finance. You don't have to receive Mr. Zarathustra anymore, old AI says to me as I hurriedly stand up. No way, they're firing me already. I'm going to get a month's severance pay. I'm momentarily stunned. Old AI passes me a document and continues, liaise with the members involved in this project. It's a project the company is working on with the police. Oh, the turn of events is too sudden that I don't know how to respond. Realizing that I don't have to ride with Risego tomorrow, I have the baffling feeling that it might not be a bad idea. Thank you for listening to the story on KevinAudio.com 1416 in modern day 14. After finding the project team and gaining an understanding of the situation, I spend quite a bit of time organizing the information. I also leave the company at 3 in the afternoon, preparing myself to head towards the city's police station to visit the staff in charge. After leaving my company's building, I take out my phone, open my ride-sharing app, and submit my destination. Since it's not the evening rush hour, I get a driver in just a few seconds. He's in the vicinity 1 minute. I glance at the notification and am very pleased that I don't need to wait too long. 1 minute passes quickly, but as I look left and right, I don't see the license plate that I remember. Suspecting that I've misremembered, I hurriedly unlock my phone to confirm the situation. At this moment, I heard the chiming of a bicycle bell. I subconsciously look up and see a green-orange bicycle. Sitting on the bicycle is a young man wearing a dark baseball cap and a thin black coat. Ring, ring, ring. The bicycle stops in front of me as the man extends his right foot to support the bicycle against the ground. His forehead is wide and his face is thin. His short black hair is slightly curled, and his eyes are darker than an ordinary person's, close to pure black. His biggest characteristic was that, like a cosplayer, he wore a crystal monocle on his right eye. Holding the bicycle's handle with one hand, the man adjusts his monocle with the other. He smiles at me and says, "You were the one who requested a ride." "I did, but I requested a car, not a bicycle." I opened my mouth, unsure if I should answer. At that moment, I even underwent existential questions. Who I am? Where am I? Where am I going? "You're going to the police station, right?" The young man with the monocle didn't care that I didn't respond as he asked with a smile. "No way. Is there really an option for getting a bicycle? And I selected it somehow." I slowly nod. At this moment, there are only two clear thoughts in my mind. Should I take a photo or video to post on my moments? Should I call the customer service to complain? At that moment, the young man wearing the monocle points to the side of the building and says, "Wait another minute, my car is parked there." As he speaks, he takes out his phone and waves it. I still don't understand what's happening. The young man presses the edge of his monocle and smiles. "I did something in the nearby alley just now. I couldn't drive through and the distance to walk here was a little far, so I rented a shared bike. I'm sorry, please wait a minute or two." Since the other party has already said so and I'm not in a rush, I politely reply, "It's fine." The young man immediately puts away his phone and rode his bicycle to the side of the building. Soon, a white car drives over and stops in front of me. "All right, you can board it now." The car window rolls down, revealing the face with the monocle. Just as I'm about to open the car door, I suddenly realize a problem. The car displayed on the app is black. I'm just about to walk to the back to look at the car plate when the driver waves his phone at me across the passenger seat. I have two cars. I'm driving this car today, but I bound my account to the other one. "Look, my phone is right." With that, he calls me. Seeing that the number displayed isn't a problem, and considering how I've encountered similar situations before, I'm relieved. I open the car door and get in. It's broad daylight in a bustling city. What is there to be afraid of? However, the reviewing and verifications undertaken by the platform are really problematic. When I get into the car, the driver with a monocle looks ahead as he picks up a cigarette box and hands it back. "Want a cigarette?" "Isn't smoking banned?" I blurt. "As long as I don't mind it." The thin driver smiles through the rearview mirror. "I don't smoke." I instinctively shake my head. The driver holds the steering wheel with one hand, not really paying attention to the situation on the road. "It's good that you don't smoke." "I don't smoke either. Smoking causes one to have a ghastly appearance." "Then why do you have cigarettes?" I follow up quickly. As the car drives down the road, the driver uses his empty hand to touch the monocle on his right eye. "There will always be some friends you need to meet despite you being unwilling to meet." "That's true." I nod. At this moment, I recall Vice President Wu from the company next door. Although he smokes, his appearance is definitely not ghastly. However, there's no need to say it out loud. I'm not someone who gets into debates with others in a professional manner. "You don't look like a rideshare driver." I glance at the obviously expensive cigarettes and glance around the luxurious interior of the car. "Heh heh," the driver replies with a smile. "Is my performance that obvious? You don't look like you make a living from ride-sharing. You look like you come from a rich family." I give a random reason. Either way, I can't tell. "Heh heh, being born with a silver spoon doesn't bar me from making a living from ride-sharing. It allows me to experience a completely different life from my past, and being able to see all kinds of unique people is a form of entertainment. Don't you find it interesting?" the driver says with a smile. "How philosophical." I nod and casually say, "That may be the case, but I think you occasionally only take a few ride orders and are usually busy with other things." "Yes, I went to your building to investigate." The driver looks at the rearview mirror again, and his smile makes me feel a little strange. "Investigate?" I'm at a loss. "It's about an evil cult. They like to use vending machines to harm others." The corner of the driver's lips curls up. If it wasn't for the fact that I already knew about it, I would have lost my composure. "You're a private detective. Do you know a detective named Sherlock Moriarty? This might be his nickname." I suddenly have an idea. The driver raises his hand to pinch the edge of his monocle and chuckles. "Of course, we're old friends." I don't know if it's my imagination, but I feel like he emphasized the words "old friend." Did you or any of you find anything?" I try my best to act like a bystander. The driver half turns his head to glance at me and says with an obvious smile, "Guess." That's such a punchable smile, I rein in my emotions. "I guess so." "Then it's as you say," the driver says with an expression of, "I know a lot, but I won't tell you." As I think about what to say, he suddenly straightens his back and looks ahead. Then he pushes the monocle on his right eye. Suddenly, countless fragments appear in my mind. Overlapping roads, tunnels, mixed colors, different signboards, pedestrians, cars that swept backwards rapidly. They simultaneously explode in my mind at the same time, making me feel like I'm suffering from motion sickness. "We're here." The driver's voice enters my ears the next second. I get out of the car in a daze and squat down at the side of the road, feeling like I might vomit at any moment. I recover after a while, but the ride-sharing car has already left. Thinking back, I suddenly shudder. The driver resembled the emoji that the star had mentioned. Face with monocle 1417 in modern day 15. No way is the driver related to the monocle incident that the star mentioned. He's been corrupted, or is he the source of corruption? Wait, why did I use the word corruption? At that moment, I feel like my heart stopped beating for 2 seconds. I forget my stupor as I quickly check my belongings. My phone is still here. My keys are still here. My travel card is still here. My 7 yuan change is still here. My shoes are still here. My pants are still here. My clothes are still here. And my body is still here. Phew, I didn't lose anything. Nothing happened. I heave a sigh of relief. I feel as though I was just overthinking things. People just love to scare themselves. Since I've already taken out my phone, I take a look at the time. 3:25 p.m. That driver drove really fast, 5 to 6 minutes earlier than the estimated time on the app. No wonder I got motion sickness. I gain a new understanding of the situation. So that's what happened. However, I keep having the feeling as though I wasn't in the car for more than 15 minutes, and that we didn't exchange many words. Maybe it was due to the motion sickness I experienced towards the end of my journey, probably. I raise my head, get my bearings, and head for the eye-catching police station. It's a compound with several buildings inside. 2 fully armed police officers stand guard at the entrance. At this moment, I suddenly think of a problem. I connect it to a question from my prior inspection of my personal belongings. I didn't bring a paper notebook or pen. Of course, this isn't a result of my negligence. It's just that I'm used to using my cell phone to record matters. If it were something grander in scale or in a more professional setting, I would bring a notebook computer. I haven't used a paper notebook in the last 2 years. In a work environment like a police station, the leaders in charge of matters definitely can't stand the situation of someone holding a cell phone and tapping on it during business exchanges. That's not polite at all. When dealing with them, it's better to be more conservative and traditional. I'll first find a stationery shop, buy a pen, buy a notebook, and then go in. In a business environment, putting on an act is also a skill. I immediately look around to find my target. At times like this, I'll always praise my habit of leaving some buffer time. This gives me enough time to not be in a rush and allows me to be calm. The leader in charge of the project and I agreed to meet at 4:00 p.m., so I have 35 minutes of spare time. Normally speaking, taking a taxi from the company to this place would take about 20 minutes. With the series of actions like going downstairs, waiting for the ride, and entering the compound, the total time required is about 35 minutes. I set off at 3:00 p.m., giving myself plenty of buffer time to arrive at the scheduled time of 3:45 p.m. But considering the possibility of traffic jams, registrations, inspections, and unknown accidents, I ultimately scheduled the appointment to be at 4:00 p.m. To my surprise, the driver with the monocle drove so fast that I arrived ahead of time. I don't find any stationery stores despite looking around. I hurriedly take out my phone and use the map app to search for a nearby store. The nearest stationery store is 2 kilometers away. Get a rideshare to go over. Just as I'm hesitating, I suddenly see a small shop on the opposite side of the road. Star Dream Provision Store. Provision store. Maybe they're stationary. I'll go take a look first. There's no need to get a rideshare. Star Dream. It feels like a celebrity management agency. I quickly make up my mind and quicken my pace. Taking advantage of the flashing green light, I cross the pedestrian crossing. Soon, I arrive at the Star Dream Provision Store. The restaurant is very cramped and the lighting isn't good. It's rather dim inside, giving me the feeling of going from afternoon to evening instantly. Lining both sides of the store are shelves that are about 1.8 meters tall. The items placed on the shelves are dazzling, but they all look rather strange. The cashier is right at the back where a woman in a black dress sits at the back. She has her back against two wooden cabinets and is facing a tablet computer. She's playing with her phone. There's an ancient serial drama playing on the tablet computer, adding a bit of life to the dark shop. However, it's obvious that the cashier is only listening to the sounds with zero concern about the content. This store's design is illogical, and the boss isn't meticulous. If I were a thief, I could take a few items and turn around to leave. She wouldn't be able to discover it at all. I lampooned silently before walking to the cashier and rapped the wooden counter thrice. "Hello, do you have a notebook and pen? I'm referring to a paper notebook." The woman in a black dress looks up and replies with a smile, "Yes, we do. Over there." Her voice is very gentle, calming me down instantly. Her looks are pretty good. Even the dark environment can't mask her beauty. Without taking another look, I trace the shop owner's finger and look towards the corner of the third rack of the shelf on the right. There is something that appears to be a notebook there, but its design is very strange, as if it's made of brass pages. This is a notebook. I reach for the brass book. It feels cold to the touch, as if it's made of metal. However, there is indeed paper inside. "Yes." The shop owner in a black dress says with a calm smile, "My shop's theme is mystery." All the products in this area have this characteristic. Product differentiation strategy. This phrase flashes across my mind. At the same time, I survey my surroundings and see an antique quill, a silver mirror with black eyeballs on both sides, and a few dice of different shapes too many to count. Mirror. I subconsciously pick up the mirror with my other hand. I want to confirm my current condition. I can't look terrible just because of my motion sickness and have it affect the business exchange later. The mirror quickly reflects my face. Black hair, brown eyes, deep facial features, hard lines. Damn, when did I become so handsome? I can't believe that I'm the one in the mirror. After being stunned for 2 seconds, I quickly put down the brass notebook, take out my phone, and use the screen to examine myself. This is very normal. It's still my original appearance. I turn my head to look at the mirror again. I'm still very handsome in the mirror. What's going on with this mirror? I can't help but ask. The woman in the black dress smiles. "This is a smart mirror." "Ah, I understand." I suddenly understand. It's a smart mirror with its own beautifying features, filters, and Photoshop effects. To put it simply, it's actually a special tablet that's directly connected to TikTok and Beautycam apps. With this in mind, I lose interest and immediately place the mirror back in its original position. For some reason, I feel like the mirror is a little sticky. I use a lot of strength to retract my hand. "How much is this notebook and this quill?" I don't waste any time. I pick up the brass notebook again and ask for the price. The boss in a black dress purses her lips and chuckles. 10 million. I almost spit on her face. "The two of these are antiques," the boss added. "Is there anything that isn't an antique, something more normal?" I take a deep breath and ask directly. "Yes." The woman in the black dress points behind me. I turn around and see a black, ordinary notebook. I pick it up and flip through it. I'm certain that the surface of the notebook is made of hard paper. The paper inside is an imitation of goatskin. One of the pages is painted with the fool, who's wearing gorgeous clothes and dazzling head accessories. With the fool as my online nickname, how can I not recognize the fool? "How much is it?" I ask casually. 30 yuan, the boss replies with a good attitude. "It's a little expensive. What about this pen?" I casually pick up another dark red classic fountain pen. 25 yuan. "If you buy both of them, you can have them for 50 yuan, the boss in the black dress says with a smile. I hesitate for a few seconds and feel that 50 yuan isn't an unacceptable price compared to traveling 2 kilometers by taxi. Not only is it a waste of time, but the transport cost would be around 20 yuan. Including the cost of the notebook and pen, it would be about 30 to 40 yuan. Okay. I take out my phone and complete the transaction. After leaving the Star Dream Provision store and returning to the police station, I register at the guard house. During this process, a police car drives out. "Is there an emergency mission?" the policeman on duty asks. While waiting for the barrier to rise, the driver replies indifferently, "Damn it, a car thief appeared. He stole 2 sedan cars." 1418 in modern day 16 stole 2 sedan cars in a row. This is probably a crime syndicate. How can one person drive 2 cars? I can't help but mutter inwardly. This is the cultivation I've gone through as a fan of courtroom dramas and detective series, as well as me being a loyal reader of crime deduction novels. Of course, I don't say it out loud. I believe that people with standard intelligence can come to a similar conclusion. When the guard on duty calls to confirm my identity, I take out my phone and check the time. There's more than enough time. I let out a sigh of relief as I unhurriedly circle around the pond in the middle of the courtyard and enter the building facing the main entrance. After I run through the possible exchange in my mind, I knock on the door of the target's office 3 minutes early. "Please come in." A mellow voice sounds from inside. "Oh, Officer Deng." As soon as I push open the door and enter, I realize that the officer sitting behind the desk is the one who had come to check on my residence permit. I always imagined that he's a police officer at the police station, but I never expected him to have an office at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. He even has the room to himself. "You are?" Officer Deng raises his hand to comb his receding hairline and asks with a puzzled look, "Do we know each other? Last night, you checked on my residence permit and reminded me of a mysterious cult. Later, we met again in Lawson. I even reported a woman suspected to be a member of the cult." I begin to suspect that the person in front of me is Officer Deng's biological brother, but I still give the details. Officer Deng is enlightened. "Jojo Mingrui, right? I'm face blind and I don't have a good memory. It was night, so I couldn't see clearly." I don't need you to tell me that your memory isn't good or how you have face blindness. I can tell. I politely smile. "Today, I'm representing the Intis group to take over the previous project." "Yes, we agreed to meet at 4. Officer Deng points at the chair opposite his desk. I immediately approach it and plan on placing the black notebook that I just bought on the table. I will then flip it to the middle. I can't let Officer Deng notice that I just bought it and have never written on it. Officer Deng glances at the notebook and frowns slightly. Following that, he picks up the phone and dials an internal department number. "Hey, the Intis group is here. Come over for a meeting." After a simple briefing, he puts down the phone and smiles at me. "This is an international collaboration project. We can't decide on our own. Yes, the other party's representative will be here soon." I'm aware of that. I've read the relevant documents in the morning and know what's going on. Of course, even if I'm lazy and didn't read it, I'll still have given such an answer. I can't let the partner I'm working with find out that I'm skiving and not doing my job well. Not long after I sit down, I hear Officer Deng's office door open. I stand up politely and look back. I see an old man in a long black robe. His hair is white, and the wrinkles at the edge of his eyes and mouth are deeply recessed. His dark red eyes appear slightly turbid. A red moon pendant hangs on his chest. He looks like a priest from a cathedral. A foreign priest. I nod with a smile, fully displaying my courtesy. For some reason, I find this old man a little familiar, just like the first time I met Officer Deng. Strange, recently I've been feeling sad for some inexplicable reason. Is this the aftereffect of the assassin beverage? I silently inhale and control my emotions. At that moment, Officer Deng introduces Old Neil, an Interpol representative, a clergyman. "Hello, Mr. Neil." I quickly greet him. Old Neil doesn't speak. He sizes me up and chuckles. "Lad, have you been troubled by ghosts recently?" You can tell, I'm shocked. I don't know if I should admit it or hide it from a stranger. Don't lie, my eyes are very sharp. Old Neil smiles and points at his eyes. A little, I mutter. Ha ha, Old Neil immediately laughs. You're still too young. You confessed the moment I called you out. Actually, I'm not that sure. Yes, I'm a priest. I have the ability to expel wraiths and shadows. Do you need my help? Is it okay to discuss such feudal superstitions in front of a police officer? I open my mouth, speechless. Old Neil walks to Officer Deng's table and very naturally picks up the coffee can on it. Don't worry, I don't charge much. If you're still a believer of the goddess, I can even do it for free. I wasn't a believer of the goddess in the past, but I am now. At this moment my heart is palpitating. I hesitate for 2 seconds before sighing. But I've already found a helper. Who is it? There aren't many people with such abilities. Most of them are cheats. Old Neil skillfully brews his coffee and asks casually, Dolly, do you know her? I ask hesitantly. Dolly, ah, then that's fine. Old Neil retracts his smile and asks, are you the representative of the Intis group? Let's begin. At the same time, Officer Deng shakes his head with a smile, looking helpless. You know Madame Dolly? I ask. Old Neil sighs and points at Officer Deng. His fiancée. Oh, everyone knows each other. I can't help but sigh. This boosts my confidence in Madame Dolly. I stop chatting and begin communicating with Officer Deng and Old Neil about the project, taking note of their requests. An hour passes. Yawn. Old Neil stretches his back. It's finally over. These old bones of mine really can't withstand the torment of such meetings. I no longer have the energy. With that said, he stands up and smiles at me and Officer Deng. It's time for me to retire. It's time for me to leave. I'll go to a faraway village. I'll grow some flowers, feed the chickens, and play the piano for my wife. I don't have to worry about things here anymore. Officer Deng stands up as well. As he sends Old Neil out, he smiles and says, let's go together. As I watch them leave, I suddenly feel speechless. 1419 in modern day 17, it's not even 5:30, and I can get off work normally again. I've already composed myself by the time when I walk out of the police station, feeling happy that I don't have to work overtime today. Before I left in the afternoon, I communicated with the administration department and was told that I didn't need to return to the company. After all, we didn't know how long the meeting would take. What if Officer Deng got me to stay for dinner, sing some karaoke, and enjoy a spa ride? Although the probability of this happening is low, even if it wouldn't happen to me, I still have to be prepared. The distance from the old estate where my rented apartment is to the police station is shorter than it is from my company, but I still chose to take public transport because the company doesn't reimburse the transportation fees for returning home. Metro line 3,600 meters, bus 72, 150 meters. I take out my phone and search for a route home. After careful consideration, I choose to take the bus. The weather is hot in the summer, so it's best if I can minimize the steps taken. As I wait at the bus stop for the bus, I can't help but doubt my life. I'm already a real, powerful, and extraordinary assassin. Why do I have to live like a slave of society? But I can't get any money without work. Assassins also need to save money to buy a house, food, and clothes. At times like this, it should be like a game. Give me an assassin manager and help me gather missions. After confirming how evil my target is, I'll shave my head and flash through the crowd. No, being bald is too ugly. Forget it, what can I do? Record videos of extreme sports. I still have to practice and learn. I've never paid attention to it before. Actually, I can consider joining the police academy. As an assassin, I'm capable of capturing thieves and scammers. I won't disappoint with my abilities. The only problem is that I've heard that a policeman's income isn't too high. Perhaps it's better after the probation period. As I seriously consider the future, I board the bus. I hold the handle and notebook with one hand and I pull out my phone with the other. I'm a refined person. I definitely won't blast out any sounds in public. I don't have wireless earphones, so I can only browse Weibo and Hoopu, an online sports community website. As the bus drives, it suddenly stops. The driver's voice sounds from the speaker. "Get off the bus. There's a malfunction. Wait for the next one." The passengers curse as they get out of the bus. I'm among them as I sigh at my bad luck today. There's only one stop left. There's no need to wait. I'll just walk back. I open the map app and confirm my current location. If I knew this would happen, I might as well have taken the subway. I follow the GPS walking straight, taking a bend, crossing the street to the old estate I live in. At this moment, I see a 5 or 6-year-old girl jump out from the roadside, and an SUV is speeding over. I'm stunned at first, but then I realize that I'm an assassin, an expert that surpasses ordinary people. Without any hesitation, I run towards the girl. Seeing that I might not make it in time, I exert strength into my legs and kick out, relying on my assassin's ability to unleash all of my strength in one strike to pounce forward. During this process, I feel like a sharp arrow that had been shot from a bow. In the blink of an eye, I lunge for the little girl and hug her. Then I straighten my back and quickly adjust my body structure, making myself as light as a feather. The SUV finally stops. I take a few steps to the side and steady myself. To be honest, I was hit, but because I made myself seemingly weightless, I didn't suffer any damage. "Are you all right?" The SUV driver gets out of the car and frantically asks. His face is drenched in sweat. "I'm fine. It was a close one." I put down the dazed little girl and pat her shoulder. She has long, jet-black hair which makes her qualified to be a model in a shampoo commercial. "That's good, that's good." The SUV driver is relieved to see that I didn't dirty or injure myself. At this moment, a middle-aged man rushes out from the side of the road. When he sees that the little girl is fine, he's obviously relieved. His skin is bronze in color and he has soft facial features. He has a pair of eyes that are closer in color to brown. They appear to have been through a lot. Thank you. Are you okay?" he asks, concerned. "No, my luck isn't bad. I just happened to avoid the collision," I reply with a smile, inexplicably in a good mood. I've finally used the ability belonging to an assassin. The SUV driver points at his license plate. "Contact me if you have any problems." I still have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. The middle-aged man nods before saying to me, "Why don't you come to my shop to have a drink to calm yourself down?" For some reason, I feel a sense of closeness with him, and since it's free, I don't reject him. "Okay." As I speak, I pick up the black notebook. After leaving the road and passing through the non-motor car lane, I see this gentleman's shop. This is a themed bookstore. It's renovated to look like a coffee shop. The other door leads to a nearby park with a wooden swing hanging on it. "Don't wander around in the future. It's very dangerous. Come on, thank Uncle." The bookstore owner pulls the little girl over. "Call me brother. Don't make me sound so old," I joke. "Thank you, brother." The little girl follows his instructions. Without waiting for my reply, she cleverly says, "Then my father is your elder." Damn, did I just get taken advantage of? I can only smile helplessly. The bookstore owner immediately asks, "What would you like to drink?" "A cold beverage would do. I'm not a picky eater." "Okay." The bookstore owner points at the surrounding bookshelves and says, "You can also pick a book to read." "Okay." As he mixes the cold beverage, I curiously walk to the bookshelf to see what's on it. Grossel's Travels Book of Secrets, Roselle and his 100 Mistresses, the Self-Cultivation of Evil Gods, How to Make the Believers Offer Money. What kind of books are these? I'm stunned as I read them. Finally, I choose the seemingly normal Grossel's Travels. Just as I find a seat and sit down, the bookstore owner walks over with a glass. The drink is brownish red in color and there's quite a few pieces of ice in it. After drinking it in one gulp, it's slightly sour and sweet. It's cold and very refreshing. Great for the summer. "Not bad," I praise. The boss doesn't say anything else and returns to the cashier. I then leisurely lean back in my chair and flip through Grossel's travels. From time to time, I take a mouthful of the cold beverage, feeling very pleased. After a while, the girl runs to the back door and shouts, "Daddy, Daddy, I want to sit on the swing." The bookstore owner sighs and walks over with a smile. I smile and take another sip of my drink. I can't help but sigh. An afternoon like this is really nice. 14:20 in modern day 18, having had half a day to spare, I stay in the bookstore until it's almost 7. During this time, I can't refuse the owner's repeated offers. I reluctantly take a small slice of lemon cake, a set of pasta with minced meat, and 2 grilled sausages that had been battered and fried with spicy chicken powder. I don't need dinner. I rub my belly and decide to take a walk home. This helps with digestion. The only problem is that the weather is hot and stuffy. If I walk in this weather for a while, I'll definitely sweat. However, ever since I entered society, I've always had the habit of taking a shower every day. And today I'm also preparing to wash some clothes, so I'm not too averse to sweating. To my surprise, perhaps because of the assassin beverage, I managed to passively lose weight. I don't even have a tummy. Furthermore, I'm good at using the shadows to hide myself. When I return to my rented apartment, I've only sweated a fifth of what I expected. That medium lady, Madame Dolly, will be here at 9. There's still about 2 hours left. With more than enough time, I decide to use the fan after my shower and to play some games. As for using the air conditioner, the weather isn't too hot. Besides, after becoming an assassin, I feel that I have a strong tolerance for heat and stuffy conditions. To be honest, this cannot be considered unbearable. It's just that I don't really feel that hot and stuffy. When I enter the bathroom, I glance at the mirror and suddenly think of a question. That female ghost was introduced by Detective Sherlock Moriarty to protect me and investigate that mysterious cult. She hasn't shown any intention of harming me. Should I remind her that I've found a medium, so she should hide in advance? She doesn't have any ill intentions. She's very friendly. Besides, my reason for dealing with that mysterious cult is reasonably convincing. She must have sensed Madame Dolly's power last night. Even if I don't tell her, she should be able to guess what will happen next. I think for a moment and make up my mind. However, a new problem rears its head. How should I warn her? I don't even know where she is or how I should contact her. Looking around, I can't find any clues. It seems like I'm the only person in the room. Yes, there's only one person, but who knows if there are any ghosts. Perhaps she's hiding somewhere and I can just talk to the air. It's rather silly talking to myself. I recall last night and cast my gaze back at the mirror. Looking at my reflection in the mirror, I whisper, "I've hired a medium. She'll be here at 9. As soon as I finish speaking, the mirror in front of me turns dark, as if the surrounding light had been sucked in. The pale female ghost wearing a small bonnet and a retro dress appears in the mirror and nods gently. "Thank you." In a second, her image disappears and the mirror returns to normal. I heave a sigh of relief and hang up my clothes before I start to take a shower. As I shower, I suddenly freeze. Since the female ghost has already left, why am I spending so much money to hire a medium? The female ghost clearly has no ill intentions and she's even secretly protecting me. Why would I spend so much money to hire a medium? That's 20,000 yuan, with a maximum of 50,000. Wouldn't that be a waste of money? While taking pity on my wallet, I feel the need to think of a way to cancel the contract. Anyways, it's still early. As long as Madame Dolly doesn't live in the suburbs, she probably hasn't set off yet. But I can't be sure that the female ghost doesn't have any ill intentions. In my hesitation, I wipe myself dry and put on my clothes. After careful consideration, I decided to use the strategy of delaying things to hold back on the exorcism assignment. During this process, if I discover something amiss, I'll immediately get Madame Dolly to come over. It's really embarrassing to break a contract. I return to my room, pick up my phone, and send a message to Sleeping with Corpses. Madame Dolly, the ghost that is haunting me, seems to have left. This is the truth, but I didn't explain why. Indeed, after more than 10 seconds, Madame Dolly replies, "Could it be that the restrictions I did last night scared her away? Or maybe you were too much of a pervert and scared her away. Didn't I ask you to watch a Chinese ghost story and learn how to interact with female ghosts? I feel that it's more likely that a Chinese ghost story will make the female ghost shy." I didn't dare reply as I cautiously say, "I don't know. How about this? Don't come over today. I'll keep an eye out for a few more days. If the female ghost really doesn't appear again, then forget it. If there's any problem, I'll let you know again." How about that? After some hesitation, I add, "I can reimburse you for your preparations. No, I mean pay a reasonable fee. Let's do this for now. I thought I could catch a female ghost and play with it." Pensive face, Madame Dolly sends an emoji. Hearing this, I relax. I feel like I've earned a huge sum of money. After settling this matter, I happily play games. At 11 o'clock, I decided to go downstairs to buy some delicious food to reward myself, as I didn't spend any money for dinner and didn't have to pay for the exorcism. Eggplants. I have to have roasted eggplants. I mutter as I rush out of the estate. Before I can choose the barbecue stall, I see those punks again. Among them, the hooligan nicknamed Danny is seriously handing out flyers. His dyed, charred yellow hair, eyebrows, and his introduction of the description of tutoring class form a strong contrast. This tutoring class is interesting. I glance around and see an acquaintance sitting at the barbecue stall on the right. Miss Bernie Huang. How is a rich young lady like her eating at a roadside barbecue stall? Does CEO Huang know? I casually size up Miss Huang's companion. If it was a guy, that would be amazing gossip. A girl wearing black-framed glasses. She's not too old, about the same age as Miss Huang. I feel full of regret and was about to retract my gaze. At this moment, Miss Huang raises her head and looks over. At this moment, our eyes meet. She immediately stands up and walks towards me. This is a little awkward, however. There's nothing to feel awkward about. I live nearby, so what's wrong with coming out to eat some barbecue? I stand my ground and wait for Miss Huang and her friend to come over. Miss Huang stops in front of me and tersely acknowledges my presence. "I have something I need your help with." The girl in black-framed glasses beside her asks curiously, "Father, who is he? What kind of address is that?" The relationship between youngsters nowadays is so complicated, I'm actually at a loss as to how to respond. I can only force the corners of my mouth to curl up as I express my doubts with a smile. "We had a bet in our dorm. Whoever lost had to address the winner as father," Miss Bernie Huang explains. She points at the girl beside her. "Her family runs a tutoring class. I would like you to register for the dream tutoring classes and sit in for their classes. I'll pay for it. I'll also pay you a fee for the work you do later." Register for the tutoring class. I can't help but turn my head to look at the hooligans who are seriously handing out flyers.